All right, it is August 30th, last day of August 2024. I'm headed up to the cabin where we did the brick vaulted roof root cellar. That is really exciting and really cool. We did a couple of the first video I did was 30 minutes long. That was the first really strong push of like 10 days, 11 days of putting on the cement on the top. Or no, laying the brick. And then we came up, yeah, and then we came up another time and did a whole separate trip to do the mud on the roof. And then there might have been even a third time when I went up there to like help out and fix some things. But now I haven't been up there in a while, and you've done quite a bit of work. And so when we last left, like the entryway was just completely bare concrete and sort of raw concrete. There's that sort of concrete flat pad. So like
the stub walls, they're little short.
Yeah. So what's gone on sort of since then? Because that was early. Was that last? No, that was this spring, or was that?
Well, we did the stonework in the spring.
So we did the brickwork and the ceiling last summer.
Last summer
in 2023.
Yeah. No, we did that 2 summers ago because we had last summer. This was the second winter that we've had food in the root cellar.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and there was we were having some moisture problems in there, which we've addressed. But start with, I guess, like some of the construction work and the stonework.
Okay, so out front, of course, when you look at it, I had the concrete people got 2 different heights of stem walls because on one side the dirt or the finished grade is a little higher than on the other side. So one side's about 2 feet high, the other side's about 3 feet.
And you had like existing old rock walls there that you wanted to match to, right?
Yeah, we were shooting for that, and I saved all that stone that came off of that old building that was collapsed and stuff. And I piled them all up there, and then I brought a bunch more stone up. And big stuff that I got my hands on in different places. And so it wasn't like just one big uniform type of stone, which is kind of unique in some ways, but that's kind of how they do it in the old world. Like when I say that, I mean like Europe and stuff in the 1500s and stuff. So the stonemason,
right, for all those people from Rio Linda.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, all of those people. And so I get a hold of this stonemason. His name's Chris, and I finally get him to commit to coming up there to do this stuff. He says, yeah, he could do it. Because it's taken me last summer I didn't get it done because I couldn't get anybody.
Were you originally planning to do all the stonework yourself?
Yeah, I was kind of, which would have turned into a disaster. So it's a good thing I did.
Yeah, okay, sweet. Okay, so Chris.
He finally commits and he's going to come up to do this job. And I'm pretty excited, and he's got a father-son crew that are going to come up with him because it's going to take a few days to do it. And especially if it was just him, it would have taken a couple of weeks probably. But anyway, so he calls me up and he sent me some picture with a note under. He goes, hey, I think this is what we should do on your project up there. It's got wide grout lines. Take a close look at this, expand these photos, and tell me what you think. And so I look at him, and there's got like 1.5 inch grout lines between all these different sized stones. And that's pretty much exactly what we are going to have. That is what we're going to have. And I thought, hey, that looks perfect because I want it to look old world. He says, yeah, this is old world. I said, well, are wider grout lines weaker or stronger than thinner grout lines? He goes, oh no, they're way stronger. I said, well, why do they keep doing all these thin grout lines and dry stack and all that stuff? I don't know, it's just a trend. So he says, no,
really?
It could be way stronger. Yeah.
Huh, okay.
So he goes, it'll be way stronger. And so what I was going to do when I did it was just on those stem walls, I was going to come up. I've got these stones that are about 8 or 10 inches wide, and I was just going to go up with one row of stone. And then make the corner and come over and form in a door, which is in there now. And the door isn't in, but the frame is it's in there, but it's gotten loose. So anyway, they come up there to put in this stonework. And he goes, okay, so I'm going to put stone all the way down. We're going to come up on the face of that and stuff. And I go, no. I want you to start on top of these stem walls. He goes, oh, really? Oh, okay. So then he starts putting stone on top of that. And then they start digging around behind the wall where they're going. And they start putting in a second row of stone. I said, oh, you're going to go too wide here? Oh, yeah, we need too wide for structure and this and that. So this thing is now like this wide each side. And the front, dude, the front's 12
Wait,
inches.
so is this guy an engineer? Did you have this engineered?
No.
And this guy's a stonemason, not an engineer.
Right.
But he knows at least enough to know that you need 2 rows of rock.
Yeah. And it is stout. This thing isn't going anywhere. So...
Well, and so how did those guys work? Like, how were the workers and stuff?
They were good. They came up in early spring, and so we had really good weather for most of the days. And then one day it was really bad, but they were just out there chipping rocks and doing stuff, and of course they had to carry some of these things were 150, 200-pound rocks or thereabouts. Some of the biggest ones were probably a couple hundred pounds, but most of them were probably 30, 40, 50 pounds. You'll see them when you go up and, take some pictures of it and stuff. But, because some of the stones were small, because you need that, but they're all there's different stuff. It's not like all sandstone or all granite or anything. It's all...
And where did the stones come from?
Well, the original ones came from those walls. Then I had some sandstone that I got my hands on from this stone yard outside of town that I knew from this guy that I'd done some work with. So I got some stone from him. That was what I was going to use exclusively on the front. But it ended up just being mishmashed with everything else into the stuff. So you see the sandstones mixed in with the granite. Mixed in, there's this one big red stone that I don't even know what it is. It's probably one of those, from a volcano. What's volcanic? Igneous? Is it like an igneous rock?
Yeah, volcanic rock, yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of those. There's 2 red ones. In fact,
So wheelbarrow like they did in the Gulag. All right, there it is, folks. There it is. The stones. I can definitely see how they're sort of like randomly different kinds of stone, but yeah, that looks cool. I think. Wow. Man, I wish in the wall of the root cellar are there stones that were originally part of like that rock wall that like went up to the old structure?
Yeah, probably.
Really?
No, not in the root cellar.
No, not in the. No, he's talking about the front of the root cellar, right?
Yeah, the stonework, the new stone walls we're talking about.
Yeah, no, that's probably.
You said in the.
Well, what do you call that then? If that's not the root cellar,
We call it. We're calling it the
woodshed.
Woodshed.
Which
the woodshed.
Who built?
It's not a woodshed. It's a huge stone like.
Yeah.
It's like a castle like cache.
I know.
The
come up with another name.
The cache. What about the cache?
The cache. Maybe that's a good name for it.
Okay, we have to figure that out.
We'll put that one on the top of the list at this point.
Okay.
So it could end up being that, or the I don't know. We'll call it.
So anyway, how did it end? What ended up happening with the stone walls in conclusion? with
Okay,
that?
so all of the original stones all ended up in a jumble for like 2.5 years waiting to get this work done. So then when the work went in, it probably ended up being 30% of the stone.
Nice.
Maybe 25 or 30. And I can tell which ones were the original ones just because of their size and shape. And then I had somewhere along the line, I think on this one job I was on, they were tearing up a whole bunch of like pavers, but they were big, thick, 8-inch by 12 and this and that weird stuff, but kind of dimensional, but not quite. They were just kind of rough stones. And they're just going to throw them in this dumpster. So I took them up there and threw...
No story is complete without that.
Without the dumpster diving.
Is there 3 or 4 different sources of stones that are in those walls?
Yes, there's 3 or 4.
Okay.
About 4.
So they ended up doing a great job. They got the walls built and everything was great.
It's just a mishmash of different stones. You wouldn't really notice it so much unless you know. Then it's like, oh my God, this doesn't match that, and that's a different color than that.
Right.
But it's just really turned out nice and big old thick grout lines and anyway, the side walls are this thick, and there's a little bit of a camber to them when they start at the bottom. Then they kind of come up. That's just naturally how it gets a little shallower at the top.
Right.
And then in the front, because it's a more straight wall on both sides, that ended up being, I needed that to be about 12 inches deep. So they were really good about making that just 12 inches. instead of 2 feet on the
Oh,
sidewall.
interesting. Okay.
And I've got some pictures of those walls from above.
Oh,
You've
okay.
seen them from above,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Did you take some pictures?
Probably.
Okay. So anyway, you probably have some too. Anyway, so then these stonemasons came up and worked their tail off, did a great job. I framed up a door frame out of some treated wood, and I bolted that to the foundation slab right where I want it in the middle. And then they just brought the stone to it, brought the stone up, and then there was this one big lentil piece.
That's a cool one, yeah.
You've seen
That's a
that?
cool one,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there's a stone that goes completely across the door, which I've had that for like 2 years too. You know, planning on this thing, getting it done.
That's amazing.
Trying to get this.
Did you source that one individually, or did that come with a bunch of
No,
rocks?
I told them I needed one 12 inches wide, at least 4 feet long. And so
Holy
they,
cow,
they
cool.
snapped me one out of their
Okay.
equipment.
So is there anything else